I'm Julie Stone, Professor of Flute at Eastern Michigan University. Today we're going to talk about the art of interpreting music. This is kind of a difficult subject to talk about because it's more subjective than objective. But there's a few things you can think about to assist in bringing out the musical line in your music. First, I like to call interphrasing, and it has to do with grouping notes so that they go ahead. For instance, if you have 4/16 notes, rather than thinking 1 E and a 2 E and a, think 1 and so to there and so to there. So if I have I would think of it as leading to the next beat. If you have triplets, 1, so to there, so to there. So you can pretty much group anything into those inner phrases that will go ahead to make the music go ahead. The next thing you can think of is to actually get the score, play from the score while you're watching what's going on, and listening to the score while you're playing what's going on or watching the music. The next thing is you can watch the architecture of the line. Frequently, a line will start low, it'll go high, and then it'll settle down. So go with that. And I would enhance that with vibrato and other types of dynamics and things like that to assist. Another thing, the art of tenuto. Tenuto are the lines that you see over the notes. And if you, let's say you have those 4/16 notes again, but the real important note to you is the first note. Spend a little bit more time on that and it'll come out really nicely. Another trick with that is when you have an 8th and 2/16 notes, it's really helpful to lengthen the 8th, and that brings out the music. A lot of times when people see tenuto, they will accent it. The difference between accent and tenuto is that the accent is at the beginning of the note and it accents that. That's what it is called. Tenuto is more in the middle of the note. It's kind of a swell with that. So that brings out those important notes. The next thing is to give each note value in faster passages. If you give each note soul, it's going to sound cleaner than if you play it too fast and gloss over the notes. One particular example is in French music because there's a lot of runs and that sort of thing, a lot of 7s and different kinds of numbers like that. What I would do is think of it in groups of 2, and then you're not going to skip a note. In particular, maybe the Chaminade concertino. If I gloss over it, it's going to sound like this. But if I give each note value, it's actually going to sound faster and cleaner than the previous one when I was playing slightly faster. That sounds much better than the first one where I was just kind of glossing over the notes. So make sure you give each note soul. The next thing, sometimes in expressive passages, if you play slightly behind the beat, it has more of an impact. For instance, the beginning of the Chaminade. I'm going to play the first one without playing slightly behind. Now I'm going to stretch a bit. You notice that I stretch some notes and that sort of thing. I think that's what's expected in this kind of music. Another thing to think about is vibrato, different speeds and amplitudes, things like that, to enhance the musical line. It's important that you know not to use vibrato in fast notes, though, because that will only interrupt the line. The next thing you can do is to learn to taper your notes super well. There's a video on intonation that you can watch about that, but it's really helpful if you end a piece instead of like this, and if it's expressive, to be able to end that with a beautiful lilt. The next thing you can think about is tone color. This is very subjective, and there's things you can do, like to make something fire engine red, you can think, you know, about the color, but you can also, you know, intensify the air, do something. So instead of a normal sound, you can make it more brassy. Sometimes music will call for that. The other thing I like to think about is, instead of just playing the black notes on the page, play all the white in between them. And that's something you can do by energizing the note at the end, going to the next note. It's very related to singing. Now, something that you might want to do is to look at my book, Notes on the Flute. There are several pages in here dedicated to tone color and interpreting music that could be helpful for you. So good luck.